Hi everyone, I am JT Pilot, and today I'll be doing another 1/4 scale model aircraft review. This time we'll be doing an in-depth review of this beautiful Gemini Jets Breeze Airways Embraer ERJ-195, the long-awaited Breeze ERJ-195. And this model is, of course, made by Gemini Jets, and this is in the 1/4 scale, and this was released in March 2022. And yes, I finally received this long-awaited model. I actually received 2 of these, and this model is a really great model. Gemini just did a pretty good job on that. It does have some QC issues. The mold is just okay, and the livery is just okay. But I'm just glad to finally have a Breeze model in my collection, in my 1/4 collection, and to have 2 of them. Man, it's amazing. And this model is pretty significant to me, just because Breeze is based on my home airport, which is Norfolk, Virginia, and I see this aircraft all the time. So of course I had to buy it, and I bought 2 of these beauties. And this model is just beautiful. Man, I love it. And I'm just glad Gemini just finally released it. So. I never thought this day would come, but Gemini just did release it. So great job, Gemini, and I'd like to thank you guys so much for releasing this model. So this model is pretty good. There is a couple QC issues with this model, whether it be the mold itself and the livery, but other than that, this is a pretty good Gemini Jets model. And of course, I highly recommend buying this model before it sells out. I'm pretty sure this model has low stock at most retailers, so go buy it now before it sells out. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to finally have Breeze in. I'm so excited to finally Breeze model in 1/4. This is such a great model to my collection. So if you're new to my channel, I'd first like to welcome you to my channel. Welcome to this channel. And yeah, this is how I do model aircraft reviews. So first off, I reviewed the box of this model, this average Gemini Jets box. Then I do an in-depth analysis of this model, and I discuss a couple things about this model. Then at the end of the day, I'll be scoring this model based off of my highly accredited JT score, which consists of 11 categories. So nonetheless, I'll be starting off with the box of this. Alright, so I'll be starting off the box of this beautiful Gemini Jets model. So this is your average Gemini Jets box, and nothing too special here, but this is your average Gemini Jets narrow body box. And once again, I think this box is too big for this tiny model, but what can you do? Gemini Jets loves wasting materials, but yeah, you know, but anywho, so we're going to be starting off the top of the box. So here are the beautiful Gemini Jets logo. Here are made for collectors by collectors. Moving on to this middle of the box. Here are the beautiful computer-generated image of this long-awaited model. Man, it's just wonderful to see that. And then on the bottom right here, the beautiful Breeze titles and the Embraer ERJ-195 titles. Proceeding on to the inside of the flap of this model. All Gemini Jets models for the most part have a flap. And so proceeding on to the flap, so here's some information about the ERJ-195. Feel free to pause here if you'd like to learn more information about this aircraft. And here are the specifications. Once again, feel free to pause here if you'd like to learn more information about this aircraft. And here's the inside of the flap. So proceeding on to the bottom of the box. Here is the right side of the box. Here we have the top of the box. And here we have the right side of the box. Now we'll be proceeding onto the back of the box. So proceeding onto the back of the box, here are the computer-generated image of the aircraft taken off. Here are the Gemini Jets logo. Here's it as real as it gets. Here you have your false guarantees. Here you have highly collectible, superior quality, realistic metal landing gear, totally. Detailed printing graphics and as real as it gets features. I'm not sure if all these I'm not sure all these promises are true, but there you go. And here are Gemini social medias. Once again, I highly recommend following their Instagram. They provide a lot of important announcements, like release date announcements. And and I also recommend checking out the Gemini Jets website to learn more about recent releases. Then moving on to the bottom model, here are the Gemini Jets copyright. This is the 2021 copyright. I don't know why it still says 2021 on this box, but there you go. It's 2022 Gemini Jets, but yeah. Then here are the Made in China titles right there. And yeah, and the item number for this model is GJMXY2043. I just wanted to mention that, and I forgot to mention it. But there you go. So that's it for the box of the model. Now we'll be moving on to the full in-depth analysis of the model. Alright, so moving on to the in-depth analysis of this beautiful model. And we'll be starting off with the nose of this model. And this is the first QC problem and mold problem of this model. This nose is pretty off. I mean, I got the ERJ-170, which I previously reviewed, which that was a video from yesterday. This nose is slightly more off for whatever reason. Don't know why. It's the same mold. But so here are the nose of this model. The nose is good. It's slightly off. And if you notice this, the cockpit windows are really misaligned right here. What a great... Yeah, so the cockpit windows right there are really misaligned right there. I don't know what that is. Don't know. But pretty disappointing job by Gemini Jets. Like, come on. Like, come on, Gemini Jets. But there you go. So here's the cockpit windows. Other than that, nose is decent. Here are the pitot tubes down there. Here we have the L1 door. Here we have the nose landing gear. Nose landing gear isn't really too good. I'll show you more of the nose landing gear. More of the nose landing gear later on in the video. I'll give you a better angle of that. Here are the beautiful Breeze Airways towels. At least these are good. Perfect. That is perfect. Good job, Gemini Jets. Really good effort. The blue shade on this model is a little too dark, but other than that, it's fairly decent. So, yeah. So proceeding on to the back of this model. Center on the model. Here we have the emergency escape door. Then proceeding on to the back of the model. Here are flybreeze.com. Looking fun and amazing. Here are the registration. Registration is number 190. Bravo Zulu. Here the L2 door, and here we have the tail with the beautiful check mark. The tail on the small is perfect, nothing wrong with it, and Gemini Jets did a really good job with it. Proceeding on to the wing of the small, so here we have the CF34 engines. Those are looking good. They need a little bit more detailing, but other than that, they're good. There's no tilt to them, so that's good. And there you go. And the wing is the perfect angle, and it's pretty well detailed as well. And then here we have the navigation light and the beautiful winglet. The winglet's perfectly shaped and perfectly well detailed. And proceeding on to the top of the wing. So here's the top of the wing. You can see the emergency escape pass. So then you can see a little bit more detailing there. So proceeding on to the top of this model. So here are the top of this model. So here is a bird's eye view of the cockpit windows. Here you can see the little windshield wipers there. From this angle, the cockpit windows do look fairly decent. So here are the beacon light. Here you have some white circles. Those are spots where antennas would be. Of course, Gemini Jets was like, well, we won't include antennas on this model. Even though we can put it on an ATR-42, we just can't be bothered to put it on a E195. But that's pretty unfortunate, but it's Gemini Jets for you. And here are the top tail looking flat out beautiful. Alright, so moving on to the back of this aircraft. So here is the back of the aircraft. Here are the vertical stabilizers and horizontal stabilizers. The horizontal stabilizers are a little too high. They're a little too high, but other than that, they're fairly decent. And here are the APU exhausts right there, looking fun and amazing. Proceeding on to the bottom of the aircraft with my large fingers. So here are the bottom of the APU and then the tail, looking fun and amazing. Here we have a little antenna hidden in the blue, looking fun and amazing. Here are the Gemini Jets logo, looking fun and amazing. Here we have the wing landing gear, looking fun and amazing. Here are the stand hold. Here are the Breeze belly, looking fun and amazing. Lots of detail right there. Really good job, Gemini Jets. Here are the bottom of the engines, really good detail. Here are some white circles where antennas would be, but of course Gemini is like, no, we're not putting antennas. And here are the nose landing gear. This nose landing gear isn't really too good. The tires are like tilting opposite directions. It just doesn't look too good. And besides that, the landing gears do roll on this model. The wing landing gears are really well detailed. It's just this nose landing gear that's not really too good. But other than that, the landing gears are fairly decent on this model. So let's now move on to the nose of this model. Alright, so proceeding on to the front section of this model. So here are the front of this model. So here we have the CF34 engines, the inside view of them. The engines are pretty good. They just need a little bit more detailing. And here are the front of the nose. The nose from this angle does look pretty good. And here we have the landing gear. Sorry about the poor focus, but this landing gear is not really too good. The landing gear tires are like tilting opposite ways, like I just said. And yeah, it's a really unfortunate job at Gemini. It's like, come on. But other than that, the front of the model looks pretty good. Proceeding on to the right side of this model. So here's the right side model. Same deal as the left side I reviewed, but this time it has the R and R2 doors. And it has the baggage hold. So here we have the first baggage hold. And here we have the second baggage hold. I'm going to give you some final shots of this beautiful model, and then I'll be concluding the review. Alrighty folks, so this concludes this model aircraft review, and I'll be scoring the model based off my JT score. So this scoring system consists of 11 categories where I score the basic aspects of this model plus a little bit some complex scores. So we'll be starting with the fuselage of this model. So for the fuselage, this model we're receiving a 10 out of 10. And for the rest of the categories, this model did not score too well. It scored well in some, but yeah, unfortunate job by Gemini Jets. So starting with the first category, which is the nose of this model. So for the nose of this model, they're receiving a 7 out of 10. The nose is an okay shape, but the cockpit windows are a little bit off. which is a really unfortunate QC job, but oh well. So for the nose, they're receiving a 7 out of 10. The next category, which is the tail of this model, the tail will be receiving a 9 out of 10. The tail is pretty good. It's just the horizontal stabilizers are a little bit too high, but other than that, the tail's pretty good. Proceeding on to the next category, which is the wings of this model. So for the wings, they'll be receiving a, drum roll please, they'll be receiving a 9 out of 10. So the wings are really good on this model. Just a little bit elevated, but other than that, they're pretty good. Proceeding on to the next category, which is the landing gears. The landing gears will be only receiving a 6 out of 10 just because the front landing gear is so horrible on this model, and it's not really well detailed either. The other landing gears are perfectly fine, so for the landing gears, they're receiving a 6 out of 10. I'll bump it up. They'll get a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give them a little point for that. So 7 out of 10 for landing gear. Moving on to the next category, which is the engines of the model. So the engines, the CF34 engines are pretty good on this model. They could use a little bit more detailing, but other than that, they're receiving a 9 out of 10 for that category. Moving on to the next category, which is the details. So this model is extremely well detailed, and I like the applaud Gemini for detailing this model well. For this model being a brand new aircraft in the United States aviation industry. So for the details, they're receiving a 10 out of 10. Moving on to the next category, which is the livery. The livery is pretty good on this model. It's a little bit too dark all around, which is really interesting. My 1 version of this had a perfect blue shade, so interestingly enough, how I don't get why the 1 version has a slightly darker color. I don't know, but it's Gemini for you. So for the livery, they're receiving an 8 out of 10. I may edit that a little bit once I take this model outside and do some outdoor photos of it, which those should be out by the time this video is out on my Instagram. But anywho, so once I take this model outside, this model will probably, I would probably update the score a little bit more, but for now, it's going to get an 8 out of 10. This model is just pretty dark, pretty interesting. I wish it was a little bit lighter, but other than that, the color is fairly decent on this model. Moving on to the next category, which is the aerials on this model. So the aerials are receiving a 7 out of 10. There's no antennas, no 3D antennas of any kind on this model besides the antenna on the bottom of the fuselage. I'm kind of curious why they didn't put antennas on the top of the fuselage. Did they put one on the bottom, though? I don't know. In most Gemini models, they don't really include antennas on the bottom of the model. So that's pretty interesting move by Gemini. But other than that, they're receiving a 7 out of 10 for aerials. And yeah, moving on to the next category, which is the quality control. So the quality control, they're receiving a 4 out of 5. This model just has a bunch of random issues with it. Not really any issues that involve the model breaking. It's just a lot of QC issues in general. But so for the QC, they're receiving a 4 out of 5. Still fairly decent QC, just a couple of minor issues. And yeah, and the collectability, come on now, it's a 5 out of 5. This model is extremely high. This model is in extreme demand from all U.S. collectors because this aircraft flies to a lot of smaller U.S. airports, and many collectors do based off the airports of smaller U.S. regional airports. So yeah, this model will be a perfect addition for them. So for the collectability, Gemini will be receiving a 5 out of 5, and the final score of this model is an 85% or a B. So this model is a solid model and a beautiful model. If this model didn't have the QC issues, this model just didn't have the QC issues, this model would be perfect. But I'm just glad that Gemini just finally released this guy, and I'm super excited to finally use this model on my airport updates. And yeah, so once again, I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and I am JT Pilot, and have a wonderful day.